The mission of the Texas Civil Rights Project is to promote racial, social, and economic justice through litigation, education, and social services for low and moderate income persons least able to defend themselves. TCRP strives to foster equality, secure justice, ensure diversity, and strengthen low and moderate income communities in Texas. We were specifically created to advocate for the most marginalized and disenfranchised throughout the state, filling gaps in services to protect workers, prisoners, the disabled, veterans, the survivors of domestic abuse, immigrants, and other historically oppressed groups. The City of Houston has many problems with public accommodation, as a large number of businesses and service providers are not accessible by the requirements of the Americans with Disabilities Act. We aim to systematically bring the City of Houston to compliance with ADA standards through strategic campaigns and litigation. We have already been working with several disability advocacy groups to ensure completion of this goal. The second area of focus for TCRP is prison rights. Harris County and surrounding areas are home to many Texas prisoners. TCRP has a long history of commitment to advocacy on behalf of prisoners, and we have supported strategic litigation that has improved conditions in many Texas prisons. With increased staff devoted specifically to prisoner rights, we hope to challenge the constitutionality of miserable conditions that prisoners are subjected to in Texas. TCRP is at the forefront of advocating for transformative change in the state of Texas. While many of the legal nonprofits operating here are national entities with satellite offices, we are committed to ensuring and promoting justice for low and moderate income clients in our state. TCRP practices impact litigation with a strategic and clear focus on selecting distinct legal cases that will have a broad impact and potentially lead to future policy change. We are not an all-encompassing legal aid service, and therefore we have to be more selective about the cases we take. Through our methodology of strategic impact litigation, we have been successful in progressively changing many of the barriers that exist in our state. TCRP is not effective by coincidence. We are very thorough in how we construct our community campaigns, target our cases, and measure our successes. Since 1990, we have slowly built our statewide staff from a very small number to over 40 in 5 regional offices across the state. While we continue to grow, we identify specific issues and gaps in access to justice and target those gaps. Over the years, we have incorporated our prisoner rights, economic justice, and violence against women programs, as well as our Justice for Veterans campaign. This is a direct result of the needs that we have assessed throughout the state. We stay in constant communication with community groups and other organizations that confront similar issues on a daily basis. We have found that this is necessary to effectively evaluate the issues that affect low and moderate income communities and to keep our services relevant to those needs. Success and progress are monitored through different metrics for each of our distinct programs. But generally, success is measured by evaluating the number of cases that reach a successful resolution with tracked compliance. Our progress is not measured solely by incoming damages and attorney's fees, as is the case with other legal providers, but rather by the amount of real and effectual change we are able to create. Our success is accurately measured through intake numbers. Though we are limited in the number of cases that we can take, a high volume of intakes is a sign that the community is listening and is aware of our presence. When we are effective in our advocacy and litigation, the press is receptive and more people are made aware of our efforts. One of the most little-known facts about our organization is that the farm worker movement in the Rio Grande Valley in the late 1980s and early 1990s actually formed the roots of our organization. TCRP's executive director, Jim Harrington, worked closely with Cesar Chavez on his campaigns with the United Farm Workers in South Texas. Inspired by Chavez's mission, Jim created what eventually became the Texas Civil Rights Project. In light of this legacy, it is important to note that our organization does not practice certain types of law. We are limited to only civil litigation and will not practice any type of legal assistance on a criminal case. Our impact litigation is targeted specifically to address the sectors in which we have seen a significant dearth in access to justice. TCRP has had a number of successes over the years. One of our recent accomplishments involved representing a veteran who was exposed to indoor temperatures in excess of 130 degrees in a minimum security prison. We have also won the inclusion of interpreters in many Texas courts, hundreds of successful cases that have made the state more accessible to men and women with disabilities, and recovered millions of dollars in back wages through our economic justice program. We have also helped thousands of survivors of domestic abuse leave abusive spouses. Through our VOWA program, we have been able to ensure legal residency and eventually citizenship for countless women. We have consistently improved our outreach as we continue to immerse ourselves in the community to give trainings and Know Your Rights presentations. Our organizational challenges have always revolved around raising support and resources for growth so that we are better able to meet the needs of a growing number of underserved Texans. Although we have grown since our inception, we are understaffed and unable to fill the demand for our services. With the appropriate resources, TCRP would be able to hire additional staff to keep up with demand, while also expanding our programs and reach. In the future, we plan to put additional staff in our Houston office to specifically address solitary confinement issues and electoral integrity. Try as we might, TCRP cannot eliminate civil rights abuses in Texas. We need additional staff to be able to expand our services and reach so that we may assist future victims of civic injustice.